All right, folks. All right, everybody. Here we go on this Friday. Thought we had something. We do not, but we're going to do the real news. We are mobile, but we're going to get to a little bit more of the better situation. So, again, good afternoon, one and all. We're going to begin in just a couple moments. Make sure, I think, JR, the audio should be fine. Thought we were going to bring you a raid. That was the intention. Yep. But, oh, it says one after dark. It's actually not, but, well, that's okay. Well, I should actually get rid of that. I can get rid of it. Okay. All right. These things happen. It's live. Try to do something very cutting edge, very aggressive. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I thought we were going to be bringing you a raid. And I can't get into too much detail about it. I cannot. Yep. Good. All right. Very difficult, folks. But we're going to begin in just a couple moments. It's Friday. Hey, listen, the good news is the roads are dry, clear. Yes, we're going to be doing Road Patrol Live later tonight. Or we'll see if something develops today. But thought we had something. It happens. It happens. Takes the air out of you a little bit. We are going to begin our broadcast. Everybody stand by. We're going to be live on Facebook and YouTube. We are not going to be live on X. Not live on X, but that's okay. But folks, and we'll talk about what I consider to be obviously huge news. Give credit to the Providence Journal in breaking this story. But we're going to be mobile. So this is the concept of the real news is being able to be mobile during this time. And it sure worked out well the other day with the situation with the Coventry police and the Coventry press briefing. And again, because of security reasons, tactical reasons, I cannot get into a lot of detail. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on what we were looking for or why we were where we were. Yes. All right, we're going to begin. Again, I'm not going to ride the whole time. We'll do like a little ride, pull over. I've tried this before. Generally works out okay. But we're not going to be just riding in motion the entire time. Yes. All right, we are are standing by in the next minute, and we're going to wait for our cue from JR. And I believe, there it is. Folks, good afternoon. Right now at 1:06, this is the real news. Now, for those right now, we are live on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now, you can always listen online at the website, dpetro.com. Now, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Now, I'm sure if you're watching on one of those platforms, you can see that we are not stationary. We are moving. And I'll just briefly explain why that is. We were following up on a lead, and I'll give a few more details about it. But folks, we were almost, and I know it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. Unless you get it, it doesn't matter. We were almost going to bring you a live raid. But due to some complications and security element of it, that obviously is not happening. So now it could still possibly happen, but if our intelligence changes, but that was the goal. That's why we're on the road. That's why you see right now I'm actually on 95, and we're going to do I'm going to pull over up ahead off the highway. We'll stop, talk for a few minutes. I'll still check intelligence, but much like if you remember back in December, we were mobile and live, and then, well, that was unfortunate. Well, it was only unfortunate because then the raid happened right about 1:55. So now again, folks, I am not going to show who it was that was staging and setting up. And then for security reasons, I'm also not going to show where this was setting up or going to take place. So, and I'm not trying to be purposely deceiving, but listen, it's a volatile time. This is also a chance for you to see like how poorly some people drive and how slowly some people drive. But it's one of those things that if it had panned out, and it was my decision to, hey, let's play this out, because look how slowly these people are going. You should at least go 55 miles an hour. It was very, very possible that we were going to be able to catch a live read. I'm not going to say what agency. I think you can read between the lines. But what you're also seeing is there's a danger involved, whether it's Chicago or whether what happened out on the West Coast or what happened in Colorado, that they're investigating right now, that certain people are tipping people off when there's going to be a raid. So it was one of those things for security purposes, intelligence purposes, really a safety thing. I just have to follow. I am not going to disclose where we were, where they were set up, and more importantly, where the target was. So, but folks, this, as we go along, and we're going to try to bring you at 1:10 on this Friday, as we're going to try to bring you some of the coverage of some of these things happening. There's going to be some stops and starts to it. And this was certainly one of them. I did think and made the decision, okay, that sounds like something that we could make work, but it just did not pan out that way. And I don't want to jeopardize any future raids, but we almost, if this had worked out, we could have had some pretty compelling coverage and some pretty what I would be to consider some pretty good footage. Very good footage, as a matter of fact. Folks, this portion of our program to kick it off on this Friday, but it's brought to you by the Coesit Inn. Check out our website, dpetro.com. We have all exclusive video up. We have exclusive stories up. Check it out on the website, dpetro.com. Now, later today, we will have the video of the ICE protest the other night, and we'll also have the some other video as well, the Coventry press conference. All of those things, you can find them on the website, dpetro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn. Now, so on this Friday, now again, it could change. It could change. For those that only watch at this time, I mean, something could happen either this afternoon or it could happen tonight. I haven't seen evidence that they're doing things at night so much. It seems to be more during the day. So things could be altered. Things could change. We may be going to something like that. But for right now, and I want to be set that I could do a quick, easy on and off, should we have to then go and cover something. But for right now, it certainly does not seem that it's working out that way. But it could, listen, it's fluid. And one of the elements that I like about the format that we have set up is our ability to be flexible and be fluid, and in a moment's notice, be able to go live and bring you live coverage when something like that is breaking. So now, right now, on this Friday, and I am going to get to, there's several things that are happening right now. First of all, as I mentioned, there's an investigation going on right now on the West Coast that some of the George Soros stations, and locally they own WEAI. It's hard to believe, but maybe it shouldn't be, but that they were tipping off people as to when some of the ICE raids were going on. And folks, this is, I recognize in our area, you don't hear a lot of the media talk about someone being a traitor, but whether it is AOC, or whether it is the Soros stations, or whoever, to be tipping off people that the government, our federal agents, are going to remove. And folks, again, the people they're removing are extremely dangerous individuals. If that's not, how is that not treason? If that's not treason, to me, that's a traitor. To me, you're totally being a traitor to your country, let alone if you're an elected official. Now, I noticed I posted in Warwick how the Warwick School Committee, the Warwick superintendent, put out a statement alerting people that they will not cooperate with ICE, that they are interested in having all students and blah, 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 and that type of thing. And I'm telling you, I don't understand how someone looks at that and say, what's their real mission? That is outside of what they're supposed to be doing. So I have a problem with that whole mindset. And there was someone that posted, what's wrong with them saying they want to protect all children? Well, but what that person doesn't answer. And folks, as I have been talking about, and I'm going to talk about the big news, and that is, and I want to give credit to the Providence Journal in breaking the story about Governor McKee. I'm going to get to that momentarily, but let's just be very clear. I'm not going to get into a back and forth. And there are people, as I said, the person that is saying, what's wrong with them wanting to protect all the children? Folks, what they don't answer. It's all about money. It's all about money. This isn't a matter, well, do you think Jesus saw any children as illegal? This is not about that. This is about money. Warwick is saying, we'll keep illegal students because the teachers union, and it's the same thing for Providence, it's for all the teachers unions. The only thing that they care about is money. The more students they are, they don't care if they're legal, they don't care if they're illegal, they don't care who their parents are. The only thing they care about is money. And the more students in the classroom, the more teachers they can hire, the more schools are open, the more jobs. It's all about money. So this business, the person to put that is either A, probably married to a teacher or somehow connected to the union. And they're trying to say, we're just trying to protect all the children. No, you're not. It's not about that. It's about money. And the union just wants to have as much money as possible. Now, folks, this portion of the program on this Friday, and it's brought to you by Propane Plus. Remember, you can depend on Propane Plus. In Rhode Island, call them at 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359. For Propane Plus heating and cooling, you can depend on Propane Plus. Check out their website, residential or commercial. They have a very user-friendly website. It's propaneplus.com. You just type in your zip code, and then boom, residential or commercial, you can depend on Propane Plus. 401-885-4209, or in Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. Folks, this portion of the program, and I want to give a shout out to Modern Mechanical. Remember, right now, and I see people posting, they're having a problem right now. This is going to be a very stormy week ahead. We are in for a very stormy week. Modern Mechanical. They do boiler repair and maintenance. They do furnace repair and maintenance. They do heater repair and maintenance. Don't take any chances. If you're having a problem with your boiler or your furnace or your heater, contact Modern. Call Richard today at Modern Mechanical, 401-441-5442. 401-441-5442 for Modern Mechanical. Well, folks, good afternoon. And again, I want to reset for those that just be maybe tuning in. If you're watching, you can tell we're mobile. If you're listening, maybe you can't tell, and that I'm glad to hear that, because then that means the connection is very solid. And I want to thank you again. We deal with the best of the business with JR, but I thought it was very possible that we were going to be able to bring you a live raid. I'm not going to say where it was. I'm not going to disclose what agency was involved. I can tell you, there's a little bit I'll give. It was law enforcement, obviously. They were what they call staging. And then outside of that, I'm not going to say much more. The reason we are mobile is who knows, it could happen later today, but it's certainly not happening at this moment. It's not happening right now. So we were out. It's one of those things, folks, beyond our control. All we can do is try to be all I try to do is be in position should something like that happen. And then we could bring it to you live. I also want to I received an email from Lisa. Lisa, this is interesting. Lisa was asking, what is the name of the place? I listen to you every day, that offers before and after school care, that provides transportation before and after care for school-age children, ages 5 through 12. Lisa, you want to contact Kids Club on the Pike. Kids Club on the Pike. And she said, well, I thought they just do birthday parties. Well, they do that, but they host a number of different things. That is true that Kids Club on the Pike, which is right off of 295, right on the Cranston-Johnston line, it is true that you could rent their facility for birthday parties or a teen party, any gathering involving children. However, they also do half and full day program for preschool children, ages 3 through 5. They also do before and after school care, providing transportation before and after care for school-age children ages 5 through 12. Kids Club on the Pike, centrally located, right on the Cranston-Johnston line, right on Plainfield Pike off 295. Call them at 401-443-5336. It's Kids Club on the Pike. Now, I want to give credit to Kathy Gregg of the Providence Journal. She's got the scoop, and that coming up now, just so everyone that's listening right now, it's Friday, February 7th. We're going to have a stormy week ahead. Super Bowl is Sunday. And then next Monday is February 10th. Then the following Monday is February 17th. And I believe that is President's Day. It is. Then you have February 24th. The following Monday is the first Monday in March. Monday, February 3rd. And Kathy Gregg of the Providence Journal, who is a very experienced reporter, who has very solid sources, that she is reporting that Governor McKee is going to announce his reelection coming up on that Monday, March 3rd. Now, she's a very good source, and that is someone who I believe is very credible. Kathy Gregg of the Providence Journal, been at the State House as a reporter for a very long time. Folks, there's several things to think about it. There's several things what I meant is to look at of him announcing this. And one element is, keep in mind that organized labor, they are very deep into him. They have very strong hooks into Governor McKee, where they believe, this could be a situation where they're telling him, you're running for re-election. We're not going to go find another candidate. You're the governor. We own you, and they do. And guess what? You're running for re-election. Period. End of story. I think it can't be ignored. Right now, this is shaping up as a Democrat primary rematch. A rematch between Helena Foulkes and Governor McKee. And why, as we step back, and any reasonable individual would say, who would vote for him? And why would he be running for another 4 years? Now, keep in mind, Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, he's been governor since March of 2021. So it'll be 22, 23, 24. It'll be 4 years when he's announcing he's running for re-election. He's governor this year. He's governor next year. There'll be a Democrat primary in September of 2026, and then the general election in November. Folks, the reason he's running is, if you're not a fan of Governor McKee, and I am not, and I don't think, as I've said, I don't think he has the proper skill set. I think, if anything, he's fading even faster. He had a tough time even with Biden in the White House and all the money flowing in. I really don't think he's up to the task of trying to govern during the Trump presidency. But just so we're clear, he won in 2014, 1-0. He won. I don't recall. I'll have to check if he had a primary in 2014, but he may not have. I'll have to double check that. But he won then. He was in a very tough primary in 2018. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, lieutenant governor at the time. He beat Aaron Ruggenberg by a small margin. I think it was 2,000 votes. He then won the general election for lieutenant governor in 2018. In 2022, He won the Democrat primary, even though he lost day of voting to Helena Foulkes, and then he beat Ashley Kalus. The reason he's running is he has not lost yet. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee has not lost running in a statewide election. He hasn't lost in a primary, and he hasn't lost in a general election. So why would he be running? And some people think he's not running. He thinks with organized labor and ballot harvesting that once again, that the special interest unions are going to push him over the finish line and get him over. And he is once again counting on that he can beat Helena Foulkes in a primary. And here's what's frightening. He might be able to beat her in a primary. Is that the best thing for the state? Of course not. Does he care about the average taxpayer? Definitely not. All he cares about is the special interest. All he cares about is organized labor. But folks, this is going to have to be an opportunity where the people of the state, the Republican Party, independents need to rise up and reject. As I have stated, Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, the Rhode Island model that he follows to govern, it doesn't work. It's ineffective. It's swimming against the tide. He's running a sanctuary state. He doesn't cooperate with ICE. He gave out driving privileges to illegals. But worse than that, Hasbro's about to leave. CVS is about to leave. He's not attracting any companies. Rhode Island is ranked dead last when it comes to business friendly at 50th. But the way McKee looks at it is he still has his pal on the air down the dial. He still has his little segment of protect the governor. You know what else I've noticed is as much as he goes on W McKee RO and he does his segment, notice other media are not picking it up anymore. McKee won't go on Channel 12, at least not with newsmakers. He won't sit down for an interview with the Providence Journal or the Boston Globe. So his only outlet is he'll go live on Channel 12 with Kim Kalunian, where it's live, it's a short segment. He tries to run out the clock, and he'll go live with Janik. He'll only go into friendly territory or where area where he can run out the clock. He won't sit down with the Boston Globe. He won't sit down with the Providence Journal. He won't sit down for an extensive interview with Channel 12. And what I've noticed, and I'm actually glad, is they're no longer reporting on this protect the governor segment because it's a ridiculous segment. There's no pushback. They allow him to lie. They do. Down the dial. That station, W McKee RO, they allow him to lie. If you're sitting there and you know what he's saying is untrue and you don't challenge him or you allow him to lie, you can't just say, hey, I just asked the questions. If you allow him to lie, that's more than just asking the questions. That's a lot more than just asking the questions. Folks, this portion of our program on this Friday, and I want to remind you about Watson Mulch. Watson Materials, largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Give them a call. Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. Call them 401-885-0600. Call Sean at Watson Materials, 401-885-0600. Whether it's landscape lighting or pavers or retaining walls or natural stone or cobblestone, Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. You can depend on Watson Materials. Call them now. Look for them on Facebook. They have a great Facebook page. They also have a great website, watsonmulch.com. But call them, request a quote, 401-885-0600. Folks, what's going on, I want to be very clear. Right now at 1:30, notice Gabe Amo, Congressman Amo, Congressman Magaziner, and even the Rhode Island media, they're not covering the fact of how much waste that Elon Musk, that they are uncovering. They're not even covering it. They're not giving it any coverage. Ted Nesi, WPRI, Rhode Island confirms over 125 million in federal grants for various energy efficiency programs remain frozen despite Judge McConnell's temporary restraining order. Now, what does this mean? Listen, I'd like to see how that money is broken down. And who is it that's getting these grants? So that sounds good. 125 million in federal grants, energy efficiency programs. I am willing to bet that these are just more wasteful spending. Folks, all McKee does, all they do at the State House is just keep throwing money to special interests. All they do. I'm sure that's money that they're throwing. I'm sure that that's money that they're throwing to the unions. I'm sure that that's money that they're giving to insiders. This much I know. I'm willing to bet it's not worthwhile spending. It's not worthwhile spending. And so, and you've already heard where some of the money has been going, right? Trying to put on, it's the federal money, billions of dollars spent on transgender plays in foreign countries. Folks, it's most likely it's going in people's pockets. So if Elon Musk, if the Trump administration right now, if President Trump and Elon, if they're holding up and not giving this money that Seth Magaziner is talking about, 125 million in federal grants. Let's see who's getting these grants. Let's see who, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a good start. Let's see who's getting the 125 million in grants. All insiders. Probably McKee giving it to all Democrat insiders. So anything that stops that crowd from the money at the trough, I'm in favor of. Folks, this portion of our program on this Friday is brought to you by Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Call Corey today, 401 283 9815. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Look for them on Facebook or call them 401 283 9815. They'll seal coat driveways, parking lots. They offer crack filling, pothole repairs, line stripping. They can make your pavement look like new. They'll keep your parking lot safe by fixing potholes and cracks and make sure your lines are bright and directs traffic safely. They do sports court resurfacing. They do pickleball. They do tennis, basketball courts. And now they'll epoxy garages and patios, decorative concrete flooring. Give them a call, free quote, Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401 283 9815. 401 283 9815 for Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Well, folks, good afternoon. This is The Real News. Now, I did receive an email from Bob. Bob is in need of a plumber. I heard, this was the email. Dear Juan, I heard you mention a plumber the other day. I did not catch the phone number. If you could be so kind to repeat it. Bob, you want to call J&B Plumbing, plumbing repair and service. You need a good plumber? Well, they repair clogged pipelines. They repair damaged water pipes. J&B Plumbing, Repair, and Service. Call the Dream Team, Jimmy and Tommy, 401 743 9153 for J&B Plumbing. So, folks, just to recap now on this Friday, it looks like I am mobile. We are mobile. I look like I am on the road. I came out under the guise, I had very good intelligence that we were going to be able to bring you along on a raid. Now, I'm not going to say what branch of law enforcement. I'm not going to say where this was happening. But, and I can't disclose why for now that we're not along. So there's various reasons. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen today, but it wasn't happening right now. And I can't question. I can't say, it never occurred to me. I can't say to a member of law enforcement, hey, listen, I'm about to go live on Do the Real News. Now, I was told I could go along on this raid. I can't have that. I was just told right now it didn't make sense for them to do it. It could be the individual they were looking for is not where they thought they were going to be. It could be for various reasons. I'm not going to speculate, and I'm not going to get into, I think I have an idea of why, but I'm not going to say why. So, but just know, here's the biggest takeaway I want you to take from this, is that this is the type of coverage that we're prepared to do, which is, and what do I mean by that? If I were you and I'm flipping around and I'm hearing people just talking about nonsense, or I'm seeing, a lot of people are making different types of dips for the big game. I have no interest in that content. What kind of pizza are you going to serve on Sunday? I have no interest in that content. I don't. It's fine for other people. That's not the type of content I look for. What would I like to watch? I'd love to watch a live raid, which is why I came out. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen later. It doesn't mean that. Listen, if for whatever reason it doesn't happen today, then so be it. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, so be it. This is the beginning of this type of thing. This is the beginning. And once again, I want to just touch on this Warwick situation. Because if you're a taxpayer in Warwick, what you should be asking, there's a real question here. These people that are saying, well, they take the oath to protect all children. It's not about that. What we're talking about is the Warwick superintendent sent something out to all the parents, students, families to say, if you're in Warwick, we are a sanctuary city and we will protect all illegals at our schools. I come back to one basic question. I don't live in Warwick. If you live in Warwick, or by the way, any district, this applies to Woonsocket, this applies to Pawtucket, this applies to Providence, obviously, or Warwick. And this is one simple question, and no one can answer it. I should say, I've never gotten an answer that makes sense. Why should you have to pay to educate the child and or children of people that are not even supposed to be in this country? Why does that fall to you? Who decided that they're going to take some of your money and that's where the money's going to go? Who decided that? We certainly didn't vote on this. Boy, I'd love to see that on the ballot box. How come? Why not? Why? That's what it's about. That's what it's all about. Why is it that you have to pay for them? Now, if they said, well, listen, if you were to illegally move to El Salvador or Venezuela or Guatemala, if you move there, then these people would gladly pay for your child to go to the schools in El Salvador, Nicaragua, Colombia, or Guatemala. Okay, I'm not sure how generous that sounds, but they can't answer that question. And that's what you should be asking. Now in Warwick, the superintendent, we will protect all children. The most important part of this is they're basically saying, if you're an illegal and your children attend Warwick Public Schools, not only will we protect you, not only will we protect your children, put out the word to some of your illegal friends to come into Warwick So if the teachers union and the schools, if they feel that strongly, why aren't they paying for these children to go? Now, how many are there? Let's just say in Warwick. Let's just do the quick math. Now, there's probably more, but I'm going to go conservative because I don't know the answer to this. But let's say in Warwick, just the city of Warwick, that there's 100 children. Could be more, could be less, but let's just go with an even 100. And each child, it costs $20,000 a year to educate them in the Warwick schools. So, what is that? How much is that? All right, that's $2 million. That's $2 million. So here's my question for the taxpayers of the city of Warwick. Why do you have to pay minimum $2 million? Now, by the way, folks, if it costs Warwick $2 million in order to educate 100, what do you think the cost is in Providence when there's 10,000, when there's far more than that? When you add up all of the illegal students, Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls, West Warwick, Woonsocket, obviously Warwick and Cranston. Now what's the number we're really talking about? You know, the number, it's in the hundreds of millions. And I want to just say this. You never hear, there's two things that you can count on that you don't hear. Number one, you don't hear local media bring it up. And number two, you don't hear any local elected official, because they're not leaders. You don't hear any of them try to justify that. They don't. No, they go a different argument. And for those that say, like the people, and it was a guy that posted this whole thing of what would Jesus do? Well, here's another thing we know about Jesus. He's not allowed in the public school. So you public school teacher unions, where you won't allow religion in the classroom, don't then fall back on that. Like, don't pull that. Don't fall back on that when you're questioned of who it is that's going in. But folks, I come back to anything that can cut federal spending, state spending, I'm in favor of. And I would think you're in favor of it. This portion of our program, the real news on this Friday, the raid that almost was. All right, I just got a text message from one of my sources saying it may happen later. Okay. I appreciate that. It might happen later. All right. Hey, I'm still interested. I'm still very interested. What? What are you kidding me? To be able to go along on a raid? I'm totally interested. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Arch Design Builders. Remember, they specialize in residential design. Arch Design Builders. Call them for a free quote, 401 207 4124. 401 207 4124. Arch Design Builders. Let's set up a meeting. Let's set up a meeting with the remarkable. They are terrific. You're going to want to meet with them. You're going to notice the arch difference when you're dealing with Ed and Roxanne, because they're looking for perfection. That's what they want. But it all starts with a conversation at 401-207-4124. Let's let them look at the space. Maybe it's for your living room. Maybe it's your family room. Maybe it's a new kitchen. Maybe it's a new bathroom or a basement or a deck or a special project. Arch Design Builders. You're going to discover the arch difference. Arch Design Builders. 401 207 4124. It all starts with the free consultation meeting, and then that's who you're going to go with. Arch Design Builders. Look for them online, archdesignbuildersri.com. You can also find them on Facebook. Well, folks, again, good afternoon. Not to be redundant, but the reason why, and I can understand someone is saying, okay, where were we going today if you're tuning in? I thought there was a very good possibility we were going to bring you along on a raid. And for various reasons, it just did not work out that way. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because it could happen. And I also want to be very clear. I don't want to jeopardize look what's happening right now. That is atrocious. What is happening in Colorado, where people are tipping off the authorities, tipping off people in the community that the authorities are there and looking to do a raid. And that puts everybody in jeopardy. It eliminates the element of surprise. There's nothing good about that. And that is absolutely disgraceful that is happening. And it is happening right now. And I really have a hard time trying to understand individuals that somehow would think that is acceptable, that is within bounds. I don't get it. I don't know who would think that that's the right thing to do. And I also think, as I was saying earlier, and again, folks, good afternoon. As again, we are mobile on this Friday. This is the real news. We are live right now on Facebook, and we're live on YouTube, and then you can always hear on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. And you can always listen online at our website, depetro.com. If you see, if people bother to read the names, or excuse me, some of the, not so much the names, but the crimes of who they're removing, they're extremely dangerous individuals. So I don't understand this whole notion that some people think, and right now, the areas that they seem to be doing it are New York and Chicago. And look at right now, the FCC has opened an investigation, San Francisco KCBS, because they were tipping off the community as to where the ICE raids were going to be. So, but I see right now someone, they opened investigations because he didn't like their immigration reporting. I don't see how anyone claims to care about free speech can be okay with this. That's, what are you're putting people's lives in jeopardy. You're putting people's lives in jeopardy. I just want to see who it is that's, oh, okay. It's a progressive reporter, as you can imagine, that's putting that out, that information. I don't understand someone who would put out something like that. And you know, in any situation. But if you saw some of the footage of, you have people screaming and then they're speaking out in a bullhorn to people in the area, trying to alert them that ICE is in the area. I don't understand what these individuals are. I don't understand what they're talking about. I really don't. And I think it's disgraceful that you would put people in jeopardy, especially in light of the fact of the different individuals that they have been removing. So, and right now, you know, the FBI, I'm looking at the FBI arrested this guy, Jonathan Allen Leffman, Newton, Massachusetts, allegedly making repeated sexual contact with a 17-year-old female passenger seated in front of him aboard a flight from Puerto Rico to Boston. So would they fight something like that? I also want to come back to, folks, to me, the big story of the day is just that apparently, and I give credit to Kathy Gregg of the Providence Journal, is reporting that Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, right now, it looks like he's going to be seeking reelection. and he's going to be making his announcement coming up on March 3rd. And that also tells me, number one, folks, he and Helena, folks, they just look at this as, what kind of options are those? This is a golden moment, golden opportunity, I believe, for the Rhode Island Republican Party. Folks, we can't afford to have the likes. I mean, what is that? That's very telling that with all of the problems that they've had between the bridge and the data breach and his war on the media and the way, the hostility that they're showing towards this administration, the fact that he runs a sanctuary state, this is frightening. But that shows the only reasonable explanation to take away from this is that's how, to me, is that's how confident they are that they can manipulate the vote. That would be the only reason. It's certainly not on job performance. Is he popular? No. Let alone the model of government that they're following right now is so out of step with the national front, where there's just way too much spending. There's too many state jobs. There's too many people on the state payroll. Folks, the Rhode Island budget at $14 billion is just ludicrous. So for Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, that he's going to announce coming up, apparently, according to the Providence Journal, on March 3rd, he's going to announce reelection. I think that's early. I think, now he wants to do it, and then that's going to lead to Helena. Folks, just so you're clear, the election is not until, the primary would be September of next year, 26, and then the general election would be in November of 26. So there's still time, but where I think they are delusional is they don't understand. They're not processing what's happening. They're not processing that the way that they have been running our local government, that it's not functioning. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, folks, it bothers me, like it bothers so many of you, that they run the place, they run the state like a welfare state, and they just want to import in poverty. And everything is about federal money, everything's about grants. They're hostile to the private sector. Everything, the business that they're in is the business of government. They're not into governing. They're into the business of government. That's the business they're in. And as I have also, it was reported, Dan McGowan of the Boston Globe, I give him credit. He had the sit down with Speaker Joe Shekarchi, and the speaker said it's not lost on us that Hasbro hasn't hired a lobbyist. And Hasbro's response was, well, we're dealing with Massachusetts, and we're dealing with the governor and the mayor, and we don't have to hire a lobbyist to deal with them. And so why would they have to hire a lobbyist in order to deal with the Rhode Island government officials? And the answer is they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to hire a lobbyist. And what does it say to Hasbro that they were able to deal with the mayor of Boston, they're able to deal with the governor of Massachusetts, and they deal with them directly? But in Rhode Island, the lobbyists say, oh, no, you have to hire me, because then you have to pay me, but then I funnel the money back to them, because then you got to throw a fundraiser for the governor, you got to throw a fundraiser for all these people at the State House, so you got to give them their cut. And what is Hasbro saying? Hasbro's saying, we don't want to deal like that. We don't want to deal that way. So, no, we're not going to do that. we're going to set up shop in Massachusetts, where we don't have to hide. Like, what is that, folks? That's a pay-to-play atmosphere, and it looks very poorly on the state that they continue to operate this way. Hold on one moment. I think we're going to have our friend Marie. I want to get her on. Yep. I think we're going to have the Queen of Health on this Friday. Folks, now again, we also, right now, again, for those that have been watching or you're listening at 156, this is the real news. And what you're looking at is not a raid. We were going to go on a raid for various reasons I'm not going to disclose. We could not go on the raid. So, thus, here we are. And it may happen later. So, those that follow Road Patrol, just be paying attention, because we certainly may be doing something later. Maybe it's going to be this afternoon. Maybe it's going to be tomorrow. I don't know. We're going to have to, there's certain elements of it that we don't have control over, and that's one of them. I can't decide. I can decide whether or not I want to go along on the raid, but I can't decide when it's going to be and whether or not they're going to execute it. Nope, folks, that part we cannot do. So now, again, I thought we were going to talk to Marie. I know she's been tied up. Folks, remember, pop in and see the Queen of Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland, diagonally across from Davenport Restaurant. It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland, where, remember, they have everything to keep you healthy for your family, for yourself. Remember, it's My Health. And I think we have the Queen of Health right now. And we're going to bring her on right now. Oh, hold on. I believe we're going to be able to bring her right on right now. No. Hold on. I think we have her. There we go. All right. Good afternoon, Marie.
Hi, John.
There you are, Marie. Good afternoon. You sound great. Go right ahead. Super Bowl weekend, storm coming. What do you recommend for everybody, Marie?
I recommend that everybody just stay warm and cozy, and get the arnica ready or the CBD for after the shoveling. So, but lots of nice teas. Have some nice warm teas, even some jamu tea, which is like a nice chai that's made locally. We have some elderberry teas, echinacea teas, nice mixes, some nice local honey to put in there. Get your snacks and settle in for the game, and because the weather's not going to be great.
What's going on Saturday at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland?
So tomorrow morning we have a yoga class at 10, we have a Pilates class at 8, and another Pilates class at 9:30. And then we have the Power of 8 meditation group that meets the second Saturday of every month. So they'll be meeting tomorrow afternoon. Anybody is welcome to join. It is a really nice meditation group. It doesn't cost anything, and you can pop in and say hi to me as well.
Marie, you have a great weekend. You're the Queen of Health. Keep up the good work. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, John. Take care.
All right, folks. There she is, Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. I want to thank JR. Remember, folks, stay tuned. If we have something, you're going to see it. Road Patrol Live later is happening. In the meantime, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news.